releasing as part of the Melbourne Documentary Film Festival is a feature documentary called Claptrap. And it's my great pleasure to be speaking to the director of Claptrap, Darcy Newton. Darcy, welcome to Movie Metropolis.
Thank you, Peter. It's lovely to be here.
Good to talk to you. And this is a film that spends a long period of time on the road in a bus with a musical group. What are the origins of this film?
That's a good question. Well, Kingswood themselves, they've been a they're a pretty seasoned band. They've been operating for about 10 years now. Mostly rock and roll, bit of soul, bit of country lately. And after the COVID lockdowns, they decided when the industry is in such dire straits right now to build a bus and do the longest tour in Australian history, which about was planning to be and ended up being 4 or 5 gigs a week for 6 months around Australia, mostly regionally. Um, and it was quite inspired by the movie Almost Famous, which they love
Hmm.
because of the bus in Almost Famous, and they wanted their own Will on the road with them, their own young journalist type. And they also wanted someone to make social media content. So I ended up coming on the road doing all their social media and then also making a documentary about the tour itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about the production behind making this film, because following the band around for such a long period of time must have
hmm
consumed a lot of time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was on the road for the full tour. So oh boy. Yes, it was a lot. You I just dropped everything and was there the whole time, filming for maybe 4 or 5 hours a day, plus each gig, and then spending my mornings editing some social media content to release for that week and logging all of my footage and backing it up. And uh, every now and then would swing through Victoria and I'd drop off and back up again footage with my producer and editors, and then I'd take off back on the road. Um, yeah, it was pretty intense, full-time filming for 6 months.
Wow, that's quite a
Yeah,
commitment, I must say.
yeah. Well, what else are you gonna do? It's what I like doing. Um, it's good to just practice and be really immersed in what you're doing. And I didn't really think about anything else. I had a script to shoot, so you just have to
Okay.
do it.
Did the
Mm.
band have any restrictions about what you were allowed to film?
Yeah, well, the general rule was they're very open people. Assuming you've seen the film, they're very comfortable with
Hmm.
sharing their lives and uh, well, yeah, sharing their lives. So the general rule is I film everything and then we run it by them when it's finished, which is what we did. Yeah.
Okay. Why is the film called Claptrap?
Um, that's a funny story. Well, uh, I name all of my hard drives, which I use when I film off of characters from this video game called Borderlands, um, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with. But
No.
Borderlands, there's a character in this video game that I grew up playing called Claptrap, who's an orange little robot. Um, and my drives, these big 5 terabyte lacies, were orange, so I named my lacies, which I used to store the footage, called I named him Claptrap. And then when I got back from the tour, my editor saw that I named the drive Claptrap, and he's like, "That's a great name to the film." And I'm like, "Oh, that wasn't intentional, but I suppose it is actually." Um, and then additionally, Claptrap's definition is absurdist nonsense or bullshit, which I think actually kind of fits quite well with a lot of what the film does. It's a bit strange and quite intentionally jarring at points, or tries to defy expectations. So it suited.
I'm quite intrigued. How successful is the band?
They're pretty big. They've done multiple sets at Splendor. They've opened for AC/DC, Aerosmith. They're pretty big. Yeah.
Okay.
They have platinum. One of their records went platinum.
And where are they now?
Yeah, and to be able to tour. Currently they're not touring. They're currently just based in Melbourne, but I think they're going off. They've already done the tour this year, and I think they're doing another one later. But they're currently writing and producing another album in Victoria.
Ah, how
Yeah.
very, very interesting. So 6 months on the road with the band. Did you ever get sick of one another?
Um, yeah, that's the interesting thing, hey, because touring is a job for them, but when you're in such close proximity, it's like they're your roommates as well. So, in terms of like, do you get sick of them? Have you ever gotten tired of living with someone, and working with them at the same time? It's like, of course, but it's not because they're bad people. It's just you can't not rub up against so many personalities, especially when they've got egos like Alex Lasker. Things people rub up. Yeah.
Ah, again, how interesting. And the bus is quite extraordinary. It's a huge
It
bus.
is. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
any issues with the bus at all during the filming?
Oh yeah. Yep. So it used to be a Phillip Island coach. Used to take people from Melbourne down to Phillip Island. Big bus that the band bought from sitting in a paddock and then actually renovated it themselves and turned it into a lovely rock and roll tour bus. It broke down pretty consistently, um, but was always repaired and back on the road until it really broke down about 70 shows in. Um, and then we were in maybe 60 shows in, and then we were in vans for probably 30 or 40 shows driving around WA and South Australia, just vans and hotels. And then we got the bus back and we came through New South Wales after that. But yes, the bus was constantly having issues, but it's pretty remarkable how well it actually did, considering it was 20,000 plus K tour around a continent. So
Wow, the diesel
yeah,
alone, the fueling
yes,
the thing, it would be very
yes,
expensive.
yeah, yeah, it was. But it's not just the bus; it's your home. It carries all of your gear and food and instruments and my camera gear as well. So yeah, it did
Wow,
well.
how very interesting. Um, so in terms of then the filming process, how did you decide what would remain in the final edit of the film?
Mm. Yeah, so we had 800 hours of footage, I think. And I generally knew what I wanted, but there's a difference between knowing what you want to keep, and the film itself. But I had two very talented editors, thankfully, who went through all the footage, about half each, and then whittled that down to 40 hours, whittled that down to 15, that down to 4 or 5, and then we worked together bringing that down to what ended up being 90 minutes. So it was a very sort of holistic, emergent process, I suppose. It wasn't like I want this and this and this, and then that's the film. It's like we had everything, and then it's just cut until a shot that might have been 2 minutes long in the 20-hour cut ended up being 10 frames in the final piece. Yeah, so a lot of work is how we is how we found out what was going to be in the final piece. Yeah,
Exactly. And do they perform all their original songs or do they do
yeah,
covers as
they
well?
only originals. Yeah,
Right, right. Ah,
yeah,
how very, very interesting indeed. Now, it's great that you've been accepted into the Melbourne Documentary Film Festival.
yeah, yeah. It's like returning to my alma mater. The first short I ever directed didn't premiere at Melb Doco, but it played in Melb Doco. But that was in 2021, so didn't get to see that in the cinema. But it's nice 3 years later coming back with my first feature.
Ah,
They're good people there, and I used to live in Carlton North, so it's like it's playing in my backyard,
yes,
which
exactly.
is good.
Right in your backyard, a neighborhood, which is terrific.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
uh, And I'm also interested to know what attracted you to filmmaking in the first place?
Yeah, that's a great question. Hmm. Some of my earliest memories, and my parents will concur with this, is waking up at hours before anyone else in my house and watching cartoons and television uh, very early in the morning uh, before school every day. I was glued to the screen from a very young age. It's probably why I need glasses now. And then just over time, I found that I preferred watching TV and movies and video games to socializing. And that sort of kept up as I aged. I find that just because I've watched so many things that I found a natural affinity towards imagining uh, a short film or a music video, and then the process of making that uh, feels very natural to me. Probably just because I was glued to a screen at the age of 5.
Yeah.
And just as I've gotten older, it just sort of scales. It's like you make short films in middle school with your friends, and then uh, I've been to film school, and you get more capable. You make music videos, you make short films, and then the time was right, and the opportunity came along to make a feature, and you just have to jump at it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well done on that. That's a really interesting process. How did the band react when they saw the final cut of the film?
They were actually it was mixed. They loved it, but it's such a personal story for them.
Hmm.
So it was a mixture of like sort of bittersweet. Like it's a good film, and but they were aware that it's about them, and it can be hard, I think, seeing yourself sometimes, but it's just such a testament to them. They're so open and honest people that they were almost nothing changed through the feedback process. They were very fine with it. So um yeah, ultimately they were really happy, and it's a big compliment to them.
Yes.
Yeah, but they're artists, so.
Yes, yes. Okay. Oh, that's great that you've got that sort of feedback. You mentioned earlier, and the film did certainly remind me of Almost Famous, uh, that terrific
Mm,
film, which
mm,
you sort of mimic to some extent, although the
hmm.
storyline is slightly different. But as yours is a doco, whereas Almost Famous, of course, was a fictional film. But yeah, really interesting. So, tell me, Darcy, are you
Mm.
planning another film at the moment?
Yes, I've got some stuff cooking. um I'm about I don't want to spoil anything, but
No.
yeah, we've got some stuff. Same team. We've got some stuff coming up. Should be very different though, so nice and fresh.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Will it also be a
Yeah.
documentary or a narrative?
Yes, it'll be another feature documentary.
Okay, okay, really interesting. Were there any particular, apart from Almost Famous, perhaps, and so on, were there any particular films or filmmakers that may have influenced your
Mm.
style of filmmaking?
Um, well, that's a very good question, because when I went on the road, I had all these films that I was very inspired by. Something like Song Remains the Same, or LCD Sound System, Shut Up and Play the Hits, or Meet Me in the Bathroom, by the same directors as that. But all of those things, or Metallica, Some Kind of Monster, that was another big inspiration. Just really good music documentaries. But then in terms of what's influenced me as a filmmaker, I found that there was a lot going on in my mind that wasn't directly related to any of these films that ended up influencing the project a lot more. More contemporary or strange things I've seen on the internet, because I was raised on the internet, digital native. So or just really just my short attention span, and or my editors' just strange personalities is really the big influences to the film. But in terms of going into the process, it was Song Remains the Same, Metallica, Some Kind of Monster, and Shut Up, Play the Hits were big inspirations.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Now, apart from screening at the Melbourne Documentary Film Festival, how else will the film be rolled out?
Yeah, there's more distribution coming up. Again, nothing's locked in, and but that should be coming to other states in Australia and doing the rounds. Kingswood has a lot of fans across the country that we want to make sure are able to see it because I think they'll really love it. But not just Kingswood fans. I think anyone who wants to see. I've never seen anything like Claptrap before. So anyone who wants to see something quite unique and I think quite good, it will be coming to at least somewhere, hopefully relatively close to wherever you're located.
Very good. Yeah, hopefully, because the
Mm.
important thing is to get the film out there and seen so that
Mm.
audiences can appreciate it.
Yeah, that's the strange thing. You forget people are going to watch it when you're making it.
Mm.
But that's what my producer's for. So yeah.
Okay, well, good luck with all of that. And I will ask you, have you seen a music documentary recently that impressed you?
Ooh, that's a great question. Meet Me in the Bathroom stands out. That was brilliant, really brilliant. Ego on Michael Gudinski was also brilliant, which I also worked on. I'm trying to think if there was one more recently that I've seen. Um, it wasn't to not really answer your question. I watched The White Diamond by Werner Herzog. I thought that was brilliant, but that wasn't
Ah,
really a music documentary. It was about a blimp. But I thought that was fantastic. Um, the soundtrack in White Diamond really grabbed me.
okay,
Yeah.
very good. Well, look, Darcy, congratulations on the film, screening at the Melbourne Documentary Film Festival, Claptrap. And I've been speaking to the director of Claptrap, Darcy Newton. Darcy, thanks so much for talking with me.
Thank you, Peter. Been a pleasure.
Okay, all the best. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.